What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode. Before we go on, I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic, and that the player ratings and potentials of the players may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. Obviously, you don't have to follow all the tips. This is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you can sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those who are out there who may lose the game, so a little bit of advice. Or for those who are out there who just want a few recommendations on what players to sign for a team that you may be using in career mode this year. And in today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys, well, these guys have been out of the top tier for over 20 years now, but they're a famous old club, a famous old ground. You might know who they are. Sheffield Wednesday, the Owls of Hillsborough, of course. Sheffield Wednesday are a League One side and a 2.5-star team as well, and their objectives in the first season, very tough indeed. Win the league title and reach the last 16 in the FA Cup. And to do that, well, it's going to be a real challenge because League One has become much more competitive over recent years. It's a division with some really strong clubs, and this year, of course, the Owls did get to the League One playoffs, only to lose to Sunderland in the semi-finals, who, of course, went on to gain promotion to the Championship. It is a good team, though, 2.5-star, that makes it one of the best teams in League One. You'll notice, too, it's got the biggest budget in League One, too. That's right, the Owls have a starting budget of around 4 to 4.25 million. They play a 5-3-2 system. And yeah, it's definitely got the ability to challenge for promotion in Season 1, either automatically or via the playoffs. Last year, again, Darren Moore led his side to the playoffs to lose in the semis to the eventual winners Sunderland. It's got the quality to do that, but there's no margin for error here with Sheffield Wednesday. To win the league title and reach the last 16 of the FA Cup for a League One team, that's asking an awful lot of the Owls. Now, as you'll see here, there are a few players who deals that come to the end of the year. I personally would let them all go, though. Sheffield Wednesday, as you'll notice, don't have an abundance of what you call young talent for the future. It's the sort of club where you'll be doing an RTG, of course, with a League One side. If you want a core of youngsters to develop for all the years you're at Hillsborough, you need to sign them yourselves. There's not really anyone here with Sheffield Wednesday that you believe will be with you for all the years you're at Hillsborough. And there are several players I'd sell in Season 1. Lee Gregory, Hutchinson, Jack Hunt, Mendes Lang, Dunkley, Massimo Lewango, Saido Berahino. Talk about falls from grace. They're all on the transfer list, and I would recommend selling them all in Season 1. What you might notice is that with Sheffield Wednesday, though, a lot of these players have just been bought in for the new season. When you start a save-off, you might not be able to sell them all. The likes of Berahino and Gregory, for example, you might not be able to sell them as they've just arrived, so you'll have to swap them out instead. We did recall Dawson, though, our goalkeeper, out on loan. We're going to sell him as well. No point in having him out on loan. He's got first-team quality now, and whilst he'd be a backup to Bailey Peacock Farrell, I'd sell both him and Wildsmith as well. And also Massimo Lewango, again, a player with real first-team quality, 68 overall at 28 years old. He's in the prime of his career right now, and in League One, he'll be one of the best players there is through the middle of the park. But again, with Sheffield Wednesday, you got to build for the future. There's no point thinking short term. One season, 2 seasons? No, think 5, think 7 seasons with Sheffield Wednesday. So a player like Massimo Lewango, or in the case of Callum Patterson, for example, the ultimate utility player that spent time with Hearts, Cardiff and Sheffield Wednesday playing right back, central midfield, up top as well. These players are more than good enough in the first year or two to be either starters or squad players. But with Sheffield Wednesday, you're not thinking about the first year or two. You're thinking about 5 to 7 seasons down the line when you want to bring major success to Hillsborough. So, we sold Luongo. We would also sell Callum Patterson for 1 mil to Luton Town. I didn't have him on the transfer list initially. What you'll notice with the Owls is that they've got a ridiculous amount of strikers. Tyrese John-Jules, Saido Berahino, obviously Lee, Gregory, Callum, Patterson. There's a long list of strikers here, so you could afford to sell 3 or 4 really in the first transfer window and still have a couple left over. But I also recommend selling Che Dunkley as well. Once again, these players in the first season, they're good enough to be in the first team, either first 11 or off the bench. Dunkley, for example, is 29 years old and 66 rated, but you don't want to think about Season 1. You want to think about Season 4, 5, 6, 6 really. So yeah, I would sell these guys in the first season, especially if their contracts are out coming the end of the season, and look to build for the future and bring in lots more younger talent. So Luongo went for just shy of £1 million to Atlas here for £950,000. Callum Patterson stayed in England and went to the Hatters, Luton Town at Kenilworth Road for £1 million, and Dunkley went for £650,000. So we didn't raise that much money for these players, as Joe Wildsmith went to Al Ali as well, but it gets their salaries off the books, and it means we get a little bit more money to reinvest in players of similar ability, but most crucially, much younger with much higher potential. So as we start spending and go shopping with the Owls, well, what positions would I improve on? Well, definitely for me, you got to get new wing-backs here. The Owls, of course, play a 5-at-the-back system, and ultimately their wing-backs right now aren't the worst, if you will. We're also going to convert Liam Palmer from CB to RWB as well, but I personally would bring in 2 new starting wing-backs for this 5-at-the-back system. The 2 players I'd recommend, well, on the left-hand side, the first choice is Lee Buchanan of Derby County, no longer, of course, under the charge of Wayne Rooney. I'd definitely bring him in, no doubt about that, because at 68 overall, he'll go right into the first 11, and the kid is just 20 years old as well. He's more than good enough to be a starter in this team. Great stamina, that's his highest stat, high medium work rates. I put him on a defensive wide-back development plan, train up his reasonably low defensive stats here, and have him as your new starting left wing back. And I would recommend a new striker as well. Obviously the Owls have about 8 strikers listed in their team, but you're going to sell Berahino, you're going to sell Gregory, we sold Callum Patterson. You want someone with real first team quality now, and someone that's got good potential for the future as well. The player I'd recommend, this guy right here, Zeki Amdouni. He's just 20 years old, but starts off already 68 overall, and he's got 81 potential as well. You can get in front of the valuation as his deals that come the end of the year. We spent 1.35 mil plus Saido Berahino, who we're going to sell anyway, so that softens the transfer fee and brings in a player who's better than Berahino now by 3 ratings, and also grows 13 to 81 overall as well. To put it plainly, this guy will be your number 1 for all the years you're at Hillsborough until you eventually reach Europe in your RTG and you can start bringing in the big names in European football. He will just tear League One apart, and also banging the goals regularly in the Championship as well. And he's 20 years old, he's only going to get better with 81 potential. I really like his physicals as well, you know, very, very well balanced. 6'1", you know, he's got a little bit of pace, he's got a little bit of strength, he can jump a little high, you know, he's got very well-rounded and balanced physicals. But yeah, definitely a striker I would say you should bring in. He'll lead your line right from the very get-go alongside Windass up top, and he'll be your number 9 for all the years you're at Hillsborough until you finally reach European football. So yeah, we signed a left back, we signed a striker, and I would recommend a new midfielder as well. Now, Barry Bannon is still there after all the years, which is crazy. He's always had a wonderful left boot, Barry Bannon. He's still there right now through the heart in the middle, but you will want someone to come in and replace Massimo Lewango. The player I'd recommend is a new holding midfielder playing for America in Mexico. It's Santiago Nevada. You can get this guy for under the valuation, and let me tell you, this will be an absolute bargain because he starts off at a really high overall for a championship team. For a League One side even, at 69 overall. So he's one of the highest rated CMs in League One, at 69 rated, and as you'll see as well, at just 20 years old, he's got 80 potential as well. So he'll be a starter right through the heart of the middle of your team in a 5-3-2 system for all the years in the Championship when you get there, and League One as well, and he'll still put a really good shift in the top tier as well. Once again, I love the really high stamina, 83 starts off with, and some really solid defensive stats to begin with as well. Very good young talent, and he'll replace Massimo Lewango in your first 11, no doubt about that. So after signing Nevada and after signing Buchanan and Amdouni as well, I did mention I'll bring in 2 new wing backs. We've got our left-sided player in Buchanan with the 78 potential. This guy's got the same potential, and he's a really good pickup too. Once again, like all the players we're buying here, they have their contracts up come the end of the year, and that makes them available on cheaper deals. Because you've got not got much money, 4 mil doesn't get you very far in football nowadays, as we know. You want to make sure you look for good value for money deals. This guy, once again, is a really good value for money signing. It's Ismael Casas of Malaga of the Segunda Division in Spain. You can get this guy for under the valuation of 2.2 mil, and he's a really good young right back. 68 overall means he's good enough to start in this team right from the very get-go and replace Jack Hunt and also Liam Palmer as well, who we're converting to right wing back. You can get it for around 1.8 mil, which is 400 grand under the valuation. That's what we spent plus a minus sell on clause 2, and again, 68 overall, good enough to start, and with 78 potential, he'll grow really nicely and be a starting right back for the year in League 1, in the Championship 2, and perhaps even your first season in the top tier when you get there as well. He's on a really low salary, which is super helpful too when you're doing an RTG and trying to cut your wage bill and make it very, what you call reasonably affordable for a Football League side. So yeah, Casas came in, we signed him as our new starting right back. So job done in terms of the positions we desperately needed to strengthen. We've got two new wing backs here in Casas and Buchanan, both starting off with the same overall, both with the same potential, so they'll grow 10 ratings and be really good wing back pairings in this team. We signed our new holding mid to replace Massimo Lewango in Nevada, and we signed down Dooney, our new number 9 up top, who's going to bang in the goals in League 1, no doubt about that. But I would recommend a new goalkeeper though. Also, we sold our two goalkeepers that were backups for Bailey Peacock Farrell. Peacock Farrell is only on loan here at Sheffield Wednesday, so you'll definitely want a second choice goalkeeper. Well, firstly, because otherwise you're dicing with danger, but also because you want someone to be yours for the future as well. That's good enough to step in and start if he's asked to do so. He's only 3 ratings lower than Peacock Farrell, this guy, but also someone that has good potential for the future to be your starting number 1 once Bailey goes back to Turf Moor. Who would I recommend? This guy right here, James Trafford, on loan at Bolton from Manchester City in real life, but in the game he's a permanent Bolton Wanderers player. I recommend this guy for any Football League career mode team that needs a new goalkeeper. Reason being, very, very simple. You can get him for under the valuation, and you can pick this guy up on a really cheap deal on a very low weekly wage of just £600 a week. And again, 64 overall means he's only 3 ratings lower than Peacock Farrell right now. He's also 6 years younger, and he's got 78 potential as well. Yeah, this guy's a really good young English shotstopper with a very bright future indeed. I'd bring him in, and once Peacock Farrell goes back to Turf Moor, he can be a starting number 1 from next year onwards. He'll be good enough to do that, and you're not taking much of a step down from Bailey right now as well. And one of the final signings I made was this guy right here, Liam Thompson of Derby County. Obviously, as we were coming towards the end of the transfer, and I didn't have much money to work with for here, so just looking for good value for money deals. Players that deals up come the end of the season, for example. This guy's a really decent young holding midfielder at Derby County right now. 64 rated, 19 years old, but he's got 78 potential. So just like Buchanan, coming in from the rounds with the same potential, the sort of player in the first couple of years, he'll either be regularly starting or coming off the bench, and he'll grow into a really good squad player when eventually you're in the top tier. You can get him for a really cheap deal. We spent a very small transfer fee plus Jack Hunter we had no need for now that Palmer is getting converted to wing back, and also we signed Casas from Malaga as well. Really solid young holding mid. I actually think personally, looking at his stats here, very good passing, decent vision, very good balance, 82 already for a teenager. I actually think personally he'd be better as a natural CM. So if I could do this one over, this episode here, what I'd actually do is, instead of putting him on a development plan, change him from holding mid to CM. I think his stats showed he'd probably be a better CM than a CDM, but even so, not much difference, but still a very good young midfielder. And then as you'll see, we changed Casas and Palmer to natural wing backs in this team to suit our 5-2-3. So we had a little bit of money remaining after all those signings still, if you can believe this, plus after the season ticket money came in as well. And I decided to make a couple new signings. Centre back, as you will know, Sheffield Wednesday got a load of centre backs here, but of course we sold a couple of them, and of course we also converted Palmer to right back as well. I would recommend a 4th choice who in the first season won't be a starter, but as the years go by could definitely be turned into one. He's with the fellow promotion rival Sunderland right now. It's Callum Doyle of the Black Cats. You can get him for under the valuation because his deals up come the end of the year. We spent just 350 grand plus Lee Gregory, who we had no need for now that we'd signed down Dooney, the Swiss striker, and this guy is 64 rated but only 17 years old. You can put him on a very low weekly wage, just £600 a week, and again, one to watch for the future. This kid, he's got 80 potential, and again, he's just 17 years old. So in the first season, he probably won't start, but 3 year centre halves here are currently on loan. Lewis Gibson from Everton, Story from Preston, and also Harley Dean as well. All 3 of those CBs are on loan right now, so you want one for the future with good potential who's yours and not on loan. That is Callum Doyle. Great pickup, no doubt about it, with 80 potential. And the final signing I made, I had just enough pennies to pull this one off here. I bought a new 3rd choice goalkeeper for the future because once again, Peacock Farrell is only on loan from Burnley, so we'll go back come the end of the season. That means for next year, we'd only have James Trafford listed as a Sheffield Wednesday player, so it's good to get a youngster in just for emergency cover and to make sure you've got 2 starting goalkeepers for next season. This is a really interesting young goalkeeper in the game. Mulder, shot stopper, 16 years old. and starting off 57 rated. Is he good enough for your first team in the first 2 or 3 years? Absolutely not. But he's got 82 potential. One to watch for the future, no doubt about it. Really good talent from Norway, and again, certainly worth picking up for a very cheap deal. You can get him for under the valuation, and I love the fact already, when you look at his stats here, he's got a 5-star weak foot. 16-year-old goalkeeper with a 5-star weak foot. Really strange, I must admit, but even so, worth picking up, not for now, but for the future. So with Sheffield Wednesday in the end, well, goodness, what a transfer window. We sold 5 players for just over 3.25 million. But when you look at the players we sold, all in their mid or late 20s with not much future here. But the players coming in, the young talent, 8 getting signed for over 7.5 mil. But the talent is amazing. All in their early 20s or teenage talent. We had the goalkeeper with 82 potential, Amdouni, our new number 9 with 81. Nevada through the middle with 80. Doyle off the bench with 80. James Trafford is our replacement for Peacock Farrell with 78. Thompson and Buchanan, the former Rams, also with 78. And Cassaz, our new starting right back, with 78 potential as well. To put it plainly, we rebuilt this Sheffield Wednesday side with a lot of young talent. The question is, can we get those strong objectives though? Well, as you could see, simulating to the end of the season, I did see we're going into the playoffs here. And we managed to come through the first leg against Wigan with a 3-1 victory. Took them back to Hillsborough, and as you'll see, we made it to the final, League One playoff final against Shrewsbury Town, where we lost 2-1. Absolutely gutted. It was a really close championship table as well between the top 5 teams. Pompey, of course, won it. Ipswich in second, but us, Rotherham and Wigan only separated by the 4 points, but in the end lost to Shrewsbury in the playoff final, despite being the top scorers of the league with 78 goals in 46 games. Yep, heartbreak for the Owls. Once again, Sheffield Wednesday fans are used to that in recent years, as we know. Coming up short in the playoff final to Shrewsbury Town. Yep, absolutely gutted there. So asked to win the league title, fell into the playoffs just like in real life, and in the end, got past the Lactics, but lost to Shrewsbury in the final. So that is absolutely gutting, man. And when we got into the playoffs, I thought we'd definitely win it because, well, you'll see the team in just a moment's time. We improved it really, really well. It started off as a 2.5-star team, and you'll see at the end of the episode just how good this team got. But I have to say, that's a bit of a bottle from my AI-managed team there. I really think we should have, if not gone up automatically, definitely won the playoffs. It's a strong league though, League One, no doubt about it. You know, in recent years in particular, it's gotten much more quality in it. I've always said one of the best things about English football is just how strong the football pyramid is, going all the way down to the National League and below. But yeah, no doubt about it, this Sheffield Wednesday team, it's got the quality to go up automatically in the first season when you inherit it. So the fact we made it even better and younger and couldn't even get via the playoffs, that was quite disappointing. In the FA Cup, as you'll see, Arsenal reached the last 16. We were knocked out by the Hatters, Luton Town, in the last 32. So, unfortunately, as Aston Villa won the final against Ipswich Town, how about that? Yeah, I can't sweep it under the rug. We did sadly fail both of our objectives. Asked to win the league title, we lost in the playoff final. Asked to reach the last 16 in the FA Cup, we finished 1 round short of doing that. So, really disappointing, because when you look at this team here, we should have won this league, no doubt about it. This is a really strong Sheffield Wednesday side. When you look at the talent coming in, Buchanan and Cassaz, both 72 overall, now Nevada 74, and Amdouni 74 as well. The starters we bought in for this first 11 at Sheffield Wednesday all grew to be in the early 70s. How we didn't get promoted in Season 1, I don't know. This is a really, really strong Sheffield Wednesday side. When you inherit it, there's no doubt about it. It needs a rebuild for the future, but it's good enough to get promoted in Season 1. I'm disappointed I couldn't get them up to the Championship in the first season I managed here, but I definitely think you guys should be able to do that. I highly recommend the Owls as well. They've got a rich history, as we know, but it's been a long time since they had success. I think their last major honour, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the League Cup back in the early 90s. Might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheffield Wednesday fans, but even so, I think that was their last major honour. But a team with rich history, a famous old ground, a very old club. You got the passionate Steel City derby with Sheffield United as well. They've fallen from grace, haven't been in the Premier League for over 20 years now. But if you're looking for an RTG in England starting in the third tier, Sheffield Wednesday are one of the absolute best teams to manage. Definitely recommend giving them a go, no doubt about it. Rebuild their side, make it younger, bring in good talent, assemble a core, and get them back to the big time. We should have got them to Championship in this season. Somehow failed to do that with this quality team. I don't know how I did it, but even so, thank you for watching today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys. Big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode of Who to Sign For very soon.